Welcome back. It is Friday, December 22nd in the NBA. My four favorite picks are on the way. Let's recap yesterday. A solid 2-1 day. Let's talk about it. Anthony Simons. I hope they keep his line at 25.5. The man dropped 41 points. Quietly becoming one of my favorite players to watch. That guy is just going crazy. We also had our SGA 25 plus points and Chet Holmgren 15 plus points. Same game parlay. Pretty free. Only loss of the day was Ja Morant over 28.5 points. Just wasn't as aggressive as I expected him to be. I'm curious kind of how I feel like Ja Morant more so when you see games that the Grizzlies are going to lose. Those are games that he probably is going to do better in just because they kind of need him to carry the team. But yesterday they didn't need him when Desmond Bane was dropping 30 points. But a 2-1 day, we will take that. Let's move on to today. Obviously, we are in a change of scenery, or we're going to be in a change of scenery for the next few videos. We are at Disney World today, and I'm getting this video out early. But as always, we don't take days off. We need to lock in. We got 4 picks for Friday. We'll have a video tomorrow. Then we don't technically have games on the 24th, Christmas Eve, but then we have a bunch of games on the 25th for Christmas Day. And speaking of Christmas Day, there is a free square right now on Underdog Fantasy for LeBron James to score 1 point on Christmas Day. Now, I'm not going to show how I'm going to use it today, but it's available for every single user. I'll show how I'm using it in our Christmas Day NBA video. But as always, if you are new to Underdog, you can sign up using our code COS and you'll get a 100% deposit match up to $100. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. It's free money. Take advantage of it. Code COS, top link in description. A lot of other daily fantasy platforms have free squares for Christmas Day for a bunch of different players. So if you haven't signed up for any of those ones, use all our links at the top of the description, where you will also find this Underdog Fantasy one. But you guys came here for winners. Let's dive into it. We did have a 2-0 NFL day. We will have an NFL video posted later on this evening with some picks for Saturday. But let's dive into today's picks for Friday in the NBA. The first one is a guy with sort of my inverse of initials. It's OG Anunoby. I like his over 12.5 points, minus 120 on DraftKings. Now, if this line does go up to 13.5, which it could, I don't mind it there. OG, when he has it this over, he typically gets over 13 points, 13.5 as well. I do like this up to about minus 130. Now, OG Anunoby is not a guy we have talked about, I don't think, a single time in terms of betting on him this season, but he's a guy we targeted a couple times last year. It's not necessarily, it's not like the household name. If you have never heard of OG Anunoby, I don't necessarily blame you. He does play for the Toronto Raptors, and I really like his matchup today in Philadelphia taking on the Sixers. Now, OG this season, he's averaging 14.7 points per game. Also, side note, not going to have all the slides today. Got to get this video out early. Saves me a little bit of time not doing all the slides, but hopefully you guys listen in and see why I like Anunoby, who, like I said, is averaging 14.7 points per game. He scored 13 points, though, in only 11 of 23 games. Now, you look at a couple of his misses. In fact, 8 of his 12 misses, the man shot 10 plus times. He just didn't shoot well. Obviously, with the guy with the line at 12.5, we're not expecting him to shoot 20 times because they wouldn't give a line to a guy at 12.5 if he's shooting 20 times a night. And that's what maybe it was like Killian Hayes. He just got shot. He just caught a stray. But you look at OG's last 5 games, he's been up and down. I mean, 29 and 22 points. And then the last 3, 7, 5, and 9. So we see these, the minutes are going to be there because OG Anunoby, one of the best defenders in the league. They need him out there for defense, especially against a team like the Sixers with Tyrese Maxey, who he's probably going to guard. At the same time, this is a guy that sometimes he finds himself on offense, sometimes he doesn't. But I like this spot for him to figure it out because it's a tougher matchup to score in the paint for Siakam, for Scotty Barnes, and those guys. So I think you need to beat the Sixers from the outside. And we see an OG Anunoby averaging 15.5 points per game on the road this season. Actually played a lot better on the road for whatever reason. And this guy somehow, I don't know, some way, when he sees his games in Philly, he turns it on because he has scored 19, 20, 13, 17, and 16 points in his last 6 games in Philadelphia, over in all 6 of those games. Now, I don't know what got into him in Philly, but I will not complain. I just think this is the guy. They need him out there to knock down some shots. About a 38% three-point shooter, too. And given the last few games, obviously, he's due some shooting regression, hasn't really knocked down his shots recently, but 10 shots in 7 straight versus the Sixers. Normally you see OG with a line at like 15.5, given his recent, couple bad games against some, advantageous matchups for his other teammates. He just really didn't knock down the shots. Still saw decent volume. I just think that this is a good game for him to knock down some shots and get the shots up. I mean, you're giving me a 12.5 points line on a guy that's probably going to shoot 10, maybe 12 times tonight. I'll take a stab at it. I really like OG Anunoby tonight to just have, we're not asking for a big game. 13 points, which is my lucky number. OG, we're counting on you. Now, my second play, we're going to go to Brooklyn, where we're to see the Nets taking on the Nuggets. And I actually have 2 picks in this game, but the first one's going to be Mikal Bridges, over 19.5 points, minus 120 on BetMGM. Now, obviously, some people have a little bit angry at Bridges, and I understand why. He did cost us a little bit, but I just think this is just, I mean, if you remember a couple weeks ago, or maybe probably last week, we talked all about Devin Vassell. He was a guy that was getting a ton of volume, just wasn't knocking down shots. And at the end of the day, sometimes it's smarter to bet on volume than to bet on a guy that's shooting 65, 70% from the field, and you're asking him to continue to do that to hit the over. With a guy like Bridges, I'm just confident he's going to start knocking down some shots. This guy's too talented. We kind of had the same spiel on Devin Vassell a few weeks, or maybe last week, and we said, hey, this guy's shooting 15 times. He's just shooting 20% from the field. He's going to shoot better than that. And he dropped 36 points eventually. And McCall is just due a game like that. This season, Bridges is averaging well above this line, 21.7 points per game. He has scored 20 points in 17 of 27. That's 63% of the time. And he has scored 20 plus points in 19 of his last 25 games at home. Now, has not been as good at home this season, has gone under in 5 games. I believe he's 9 for 15 towards the over. But this is just too good of a spot to back Bridges in a slump. I mean, this is a guy, you look at his last 3 games, he scored 18 points on 6 of 17, 35%, 13 on 4 for 16. And then last game, 16 points, 4 for 21 from the field. 19. I mean, this is a guy that's just much better than what he's been putting on tape. And this is a guy that has scored 25, 23, and 9 points in his last 3 games for Denver as a member of the Nets. So obviously these teams just played a few weeks back. I mean, I believe 8 days ago. McCall only scored 9 points on that one. That was coming off a back-to-back in Phoenix. Obviously, Phoenix poured out a lot of energy in that game, and they got smoked. They did not have a chance in that one. But I think with an over-under in the 230s, the Nets only 4 5-point underdogs. I think a lot of people will be on the Nuggets today, given the Nets just got smoked by the Knicks. I think it's a close game. And we saw McCall when, it's close games and we're scoring the basketball. Typically, McCall's going to be one of the guys that they need him out there. He's their number 1 or 2 option on offense. I really like his over in points tonight, 19.5. I still would play it at 20.5. And as I said, I have 2 picks in this one, and actually have a same game parlay. Well, it's a very easy pivot. It's Nicholas Claxton of the Brooklyn Nets to score 10 points, and Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets to get 10 rebounds. This is minus 110 on Bet365. If you're on FanDuel, it's about minus 117. I believe minus 115, give or take, on DraftKings and BetMGM. So you should have very similar value to this on almost every single buck. And while I don't normally take 2 bets in one game, I'm just really confident this is a close game. The reason I don't do 2 or 3 bets in one game is because if it's a blowout, you're probably screwed on all fronts. But I think this is a close game. The Nets, like I said, just got smoked at home. Everyone's going to be on the Nuggets. No one wants to bet on the Nets. I assure you that. No one wants to bet Nets spread tonight. I think they keep it close. I'm not saying the cover, which is like 4.5, 5 points, but if they even keep it within 10, I think we got a great chance of cashing both of these 2 plays. And you look at Nicholas Claxton, why I like his over in points, which was 10.5. Why I'm taking him to 10 plus is because he has finished with 10 points on the dot 3 times this season. So you can take his line at 10.5. I think that's fine. And I'm sure I was pretty confident he could go over that. But a guy like Claxton, not really a guy that, knocks down 3-pointers. So he's mostly, if he knocks down a 3 tonight, something's going crazy, but is mostly doing a lot of 2-point shots. So sometimes the difference from 10 to 10.5 can be pretty substantial, given that he's normally scoring in 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 kind of things. But you look at him, he has scored 10 points in 12 of 18 this season. His last 3 versus Jokic, he scored 20, 19, and 10 points. 10 points he scored in that blowout game where they still got smoked. And that was a game he only played 17 minutes due to 5 fouls. He was in foul trouble all night long. And that could happen tonight. I'm not saying he will avoid foul trouble against Jokic. We know Jokic can get anyone into foul trouble, super talented, but this is a Nuggets team we've talked about. It's given up 23 points per game to centers. I know Claxton's not got a big bag, if you will. If you're like, oh, I need a guy that's going to be doing dribble moves, it's not Claxton's game. He's doing a lot of layups, alley-oops, dunks. Same time, that's kind of how you can abuse Jokic. I mean, not the most athletic guy. You throw it up towards the rim. Claxton's probably going to be the guy that comes down with it. And we've seen, Claxton just do well against Jokic, which is why I like the points. Now, I also like Jokic to grab some boards, and hopefully it's not Mikal Bridges boards that he's grabbing, because Jokic has just done a great job against Brooklyn. In his last 5 versus them, 10, 12, 20, 17 and 14 rebounds. And that 14 was that last game when he didn't play in the fourth quarter. He's averaging 12.4 rebounds per game in the season, 10 rebounds and 22 of 28. This is just a great spot to back a center to grab some boards. I liked his regular line at 12.5, but I think the 10 is a little bit safer. Last 15 games, Nets 3rd most rebounds per game to centers. I like this as a different old-fashioned double-double. 10 points from Claxton, 10 rebounds from Jokic. That's a little double-double for you, but I really do like it. I like both these two fellas to do their thing. 10 points for Claxton, 10 rebounds for Jokic. I think it's a good spot to back a same-game parlay here. And then my 4th and final play of the day, no added plays today. As always, let me know your favorite picks down below. Always, you guys are dropping some winners for the people, and I know a ton of people read the comments, so if you have a play that you're like, Austin, you didn't notice this one, or hey, you guys should take a look at this. Always put it in the comments. We're a community. We're all trying to win money together. That's the main point of it. We're going to a 3-leg same game parlay. Two fellas, both on the Miami Heat. Bam Adebayo, 20 plus points. Tyler Herro, 20 plus points and 4 plus assists. This is plus 147 on FanDuel. Throwing 1 unit on this to win back nearly 1.5. Now, I would play this on DraftKings at about plus 126. So obviously, if you have FanDuel, you probably want to prefer that over DraftKings. But if DraftKings is your only place, I believe they did have Tyler Herro for, his over-under for assists. You can take him at like 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, and so on and so forth. I also, if you're on Bet365 or, some other books where they only have like 3, 5, and 7, I don't mind Herro for 5, but I would just take it for 3 assists. You have a better chance of hitting than I do. But let's talk about these two guys, because obviously the Heat back at home taking on the Hawks. Jimmy Butler remains out tonight. At least he's supposed to be out. You never know in the NBA. But Adebayo been pretty good, especially in this matchup. 20 points in 6 of his last 7 versus Atlanta. 20 points in 14 of 18 this season. It's coming off now not the greatest game against Orlando. Historically, has not played well against the Magic. And I just think his 22.5 points line, which is what Adebayo sees tonight, sharp. I mean, this is a guy that's landed on 20, 21, or 22 points 7 times this season. So I look at the Hawks, a good matchup, though, for him. 7th most points per game. The centers. I'm pretty confident Bam can get those 20 plus points, roll into the hoop, dunking on people and doing his thing. Back at home, I like to trust him there. And then we've talked about Herro before, 20 points in 8 straight, minus, the one game he got injured in and played like 8 minutes in. But last game, 7 assists without Jimmy Butler, 11 potential assists, the most on the team. Next closest was Duncan Robinson, just 5 potential assists. We've seen the Hawks, they love the double team, the pick and roll ball handler guy. And we saw them kind of do that against Van Vliet. He had like 17 assists against them. But still, I just look at this Herro. He's going to have the ball in his hands a ton, and if he's getting doubled, probably dishing it off to Bam Adebayo, hopefully for some easy assists for us. And we've seen only 2 games this season without Jimmy Butler. Herro 4 and 7 assists, did score 22 plus points in each of those 2 games. So as a Hawks team struggles to defend the mid-range, which is where we know Herro likes to get. I just think that we look at Herro, he just got the 4 plus assists versus the Magic, a team that allowed the second fewest assists per game. Now he gets the Hawks, team that allowed the second most. So I'm really confident in Herro to get his 4 assists. I liked his over at 4.5, but it's like minus 150. No value there, but 20 points and 20 points from Bam Adebayo and Tyler Herro. Then hopefully we get some Herro assists in there. Hopefully to Bam Adebayo, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Could be some alley-oops. I don't care how they get it done. I really like both these two fellas at home of the Miami Heat, 20, 20, and 4. Plus 147. I like it. Risk 1 unit, win almost 1.5. I like that. Those are our 4 favorite picks of the day. Apologies for the change of scenery, but I'll see you guys back again tomorrow with some more picks. I'll see you in the Saturday edition of NFL Picks, which have been on a scorching hot run in the NFL. That video will be posted later on this afternoon or evening. You guys have a wonderful Friday. I will see you guys back again in the next one. It's Austin. If you want to sign up for Underdog, get that free square for LeBron James on Christmas Day. I'll show how I'm using it in the Christmas Day NBA Best Bets video. Just make sure you sign up using our code COS for the top link in the description. You guys have a wonderful day. See you in the next one. Peace.